went home, and I wound up giving my life to the Lord at that point, and He saved me, you know. And the next morning, I wound up going to get a Bible from the Bible store a few streets over, and it was a children's Bible, something I could understand, and came across John 14:21, and it just stood out to me. And I looked up the word manifest, where Jesus said He had manifest Himself to those who love Him, and it means to appear to, or to show oneself openly. And so I just started asking the Lord. I said, Lord, I know You can't lie. I want to see You. And so about a month went by, and I just came in from, you know, witnessing all day, and I wasn't asleep, but I had just laid down on the couch, and all of a sudden the room had lit up. I was laying on my stomach, and I looked over my right shoulder, and as I looked over, I saw this man just, you know, just hovering maybe 3 or 4 inches off the floor. And all of a sudden I started trembling. I was terrified, and the Lord spoke to me. He said, "Don't be afraid, it's only me." And as He said those words, the best way I can describe it was those words penetrated my very being. You know, all of a sudden I stopped trembling instantly. And you know, the Lord, He started to hover, and I put my head down on my arm like this, and He's, you know, because I was hoping it was a dream or something, you know, I was afraid. And when I looked back again, He was standing directly over me, and He stepped inside of my body, and He laid down, you know. And at that point, I couldn't wait to go to sleep and wake up and tell everybody I just saw Jesus, you know, and He didn't have to tell me who He was, but I knew it was Him, you know. And from that point forward, there was just been this hunger. I want to see Him over and over. And you know, He just continued to come to me. And you know, for a year and a half, I had been praying at that point, you know, because I was reading the Bible and, you know, seeing a few miracles, but not seeing what I read in the scriptures. And so I started asking the Lord. I said, Lord, I know it's at least one man or one woman on the face of this earth who is walking in this. And so I said, I'll do anything if I could just be with them. And I didn't recognize what I was asking at that time. But a year and a half after praying this, you know, the Lord appeared to me in July of 2008. And He came to me in a dream, and He took
So Jesus came to you in a dream in
Yes,
2008.
Yes,
What
sir.
did He have on?
He had on an all-white robe, and it was shining. I mean, it was like a billion suns, but it didn't hurt my eyes.
Wow.
You know, and you know, I saw His face, I saw His hair, I even seen the nail prints in His wrists and His feet. You know, and you know, He sort of looks like what they put on some of the pictures, but you know, He's so much more glorious and beautiful.
Yes.
You know, and He came to me in this dream, and all of a sudden, instantly, we were traveling, and we went inside of this church service. And in this service, I saw this man preaching in the pulpit. He was walking back and forth, and you know, the Lord told me, He said, I want you to follow this man's ministry, because first and foremost, he's my friend, and he teaches what I teach. And so I let the Lord know, you know, I'll do anything He tells me. And so I came up out of this dream, and I told the Lord, I said, Lord, I don't know who this man was or where he was at. And so, you know, at this point, maybe a month had went by, and my wife, she had this tape of this kingdom message. You know, this apostle had came to her church in Cleveland in 2003, and you know, I was just listening to this message over and over, and it was just like it just grabbed me, and I said, man, we got to do this, you know. And so we had just started looking for this man on the internet, and you know, we couldn't find him anywhere. And so she said, well, you know, the Lord had told him some years back, once his assignment is finished, he's going to go home, you know. So we thought, man, maybe he's gone, you know. And so we couldn't find no type of website or any books or anything at the time. And so, you know, we were kind of discouraged. And so, you know, my wife, she told me, she said, well, you know, punch in such and such. And, you know, we went on the internet, and sure enough, you know, we came across something, and I said, this is the same man that Jesus just showed me the other night in a dream. And she started screaming. I said, what? She said, this is the man that came to my church a few years ago, and, you know, that man was you. And so
It was me?
Yes, sir.
Wow. So Jesus said I was His friend to you?
Yes, sir.
In a dream?
In a dream.
That's wonderful.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
And we never met. I never saw you, or
Never.
even that you were bald-headed, or any
No,
of that.
no, sir.
I mean, this is amazing.
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead, yes.
And so, you know, what had really, at that point,
So your wife knew about me?
Yes, sir.
So you knew, how did you know of me?
I was back in 2003. I was going to a church, and you came to do some crusades there.
Okay.
And it just really changed my life.
Wow.
And over the years, I listened to the messages, and then when I met Cliff, I knew he would love that message. So I gave it to him, and like for weeks, he listened to it 3 and 4 times a day, just really soaking it in.
Wow.
Really soaking it in.
So you remember the YouTube thing when he told you about the YouTube? And
Yes, sir.
And he had told you Jesus came to him in a dream?
Yes, sir. He told me maybe a week or 2 after it happened.
Wow.
And I said, okay, that's wonderful. And, you know, he was just like so excited. And I was just like, wow, this is amazing. I've never heard of this before. Because he didn't know of you, but I did.
Right.
So, and then Jesus himself, you know, came to him. I'm like, I've never seen the Lord, but that is wonderful that he personally came to you.
Wow. So you told him after he said Jesus said to him that I was his friend, you told him that you believed that because you had heard me give my testimony
Exactly.
in Cleveland.
Exactly.
And how he had appeared to me. Is that what you told him?
Yes, sir.
Wow. That's
Yes,
amazing.
sir.